What's up, everybody? I'm Ines Luby of Say It With Your Legs Media, and today we're talking with Cadence bike manager Ian Manzano about the bike industry and where it's at today post-COVID, and how it affects the general costs and needs for new cyclists looking to get into the sport.
So supply is probably our biggest issue, supply of bikes. So the manufacturing of the frames isn't the problem, it's the components that are going on the bikes. That is what's limiting Giant as a manufacturer, how many bikes they can produce. It's changed the kind of business model, whereas before they used to release yearly models. That's gone out the window now because of the shortage in stock. So what they're doing now is, so when the 21 models run out of stock, so currently we've got the 21 and the 22s. When the 21 models run out of stock, then they'll bring the 23s in, if that makes sense. And they're going to look to kind of carry that kind of formula going forwards until the components kind of issue is been solved. So since 2020, everyone was buying bikes, so whatever stock was available, that went. And then the production of the parts and components out in Asia was limited because obviously they were really on the lockdown, and they tried to get everything under control, and that reduced the production of components massively, and it's still ongoing. This weekend we had a couple of guys, so they just signed up for the Ride 100 for this year. Don't have any bikes, no biking knowledge. They've got some friends that are cyclists, so they've asked the questions. They came in, lots of questions. They were looking either to get a high-end aluminium bike or a low-end carbon bike. That was their kind of price point. What I gave them was the information on what's good about the high-end aluminium and what's not so good, and what's good about the kind of entry-level carbon and what's not so good. Obviously with the high-end aluminium you get a lot of decent components, but you have an aluminium frame. So aluminium's good. If you are going to get into cycling seriously, you will want carbon because it's lighter weight, stiffer, all the kind of benefits of that. But with an entry-level carbon frame, you obviously have lower spec components. So it's kind of a balance. And they, they were really open-minded. They understood that if they get a nicer frame and the components weren't so good, they can upgrade those components in the future. Obviously, if you get a high-end aluminium, the components might be better, but buying a new frame to replace that is a bit more of a costly kind of outlaying cost. But they were really open to all the information that I was giving them, and I think they see the benefits of getting a carbon bike. But it's hard, when you are starting out, if you're not 100% sure if you're going to love the sport, you don't want to spend silly money on a bike and then it's sitting in your garage for the future. So it is a hard one, but if you want to be competitive, if you are going into the racing kind of aspect, you want a decent bike. For these guys that I was talking about earlier, so they have nothing, so they need the bike, pedals, shoes, shorts, clothing, jerseys, etc. Winter clothing because they're starting now and they want to carry on into the spring, summer. Helmets, lights, if they're going to leave their bikes, locks. The initial outlay in everything you need can be quite a lot, but you're not having to repeatedly buy those products. You don't need shoes every few months, you don't need a helmet, so in that respect the initial outlay is a lot, and if you can afford it then it's good, but after that it's just keeping the maintenance of the bike and keeping it up and running and in good condition. So December was a bit of a slow month. First week back in January was pretty good actually. Even with the cost of living increasing and everything, we're still seeing the sales of of bikes,
Yeah.
and you know, we are still selling 2, 3, 4, 5 grand bikes. And the workshop, even through winter and everything, has been pretty busy. So, you know, they are the biggest manufacturer of bikes. A lot of people know about the bikes or know someone that has a giant bike, and whoever has a giant bike raves about them. You know, the quality of the products is pretty good. And I think the thing that makes Giant stand out is they manufacture a lot of their components that go on the bike. So the wheels, saddles, seat posts, handlebar stems, they're all made by Giant as opposed to outsourced and then rebranded as Giant, and that can keep the cost of a bike. So a lot of the equivalent, if you look at an equivalent spec bike from another brand, Giant tend to be a little bit cheaper. Obviously recently they have had to put their prices up with the cost of materials, etc. But on average the Giant brand will come out a bit cheaper than other brands.
Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss this next conversation with Simon Jackson.
The bike fitters that are available to people are not good enough.
Yeah.
That's always been a massive problem for me. And how can the customer resolve that? I mean, I'll do bike fits for whoever comes to my door, but you know, if you live in Texas, I can't help you.
Yeah.
How does somebody in Texas find a really good bike fitter? I would go by Google reviews. You know, there are some bike fitters who have zero formal education in bike fitting. They don't use any motion capture system whatsoever, and they do a fantastic job.
Stay with your legs media. You know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks. We got lots of stuff coming up, so keep it locked.